Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small,
Hey there, and welcome to episode 11 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again on this Thursday. And if it's not Thursday when you're listening to this, just know that we do drop a new episode every Thursday, so make sure you click that subscribe button. This week's topic is a little bit timely because I actually have been talking about this a lot with my clients and my prospects, and that's all about Facebook competitions. Well, actually, online competitions, social media competitions, because at the moment, at the time of this recording, it's actually coming up to Easter, and everybody and their dog likes to do an Easter egg competition, or every man and his dog likes to win an Easter egg competition. But every time I talk about Facebook and Instagram competitions, people are always up in arms and say to me things like, but everyone else does it, to which I sound exactly like my mum. Shout out to Ida. When I turn back and I say, well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? That's such a mum thing to say, isn't it? But it's true. Just because everybody else is running competitions like this doesn't mean that they are actually following the rules. So I want to give you some tips and tricks on doing competitions on social media, but I also want to be really clear about some rules and regulations that I constantly see being broken. And of course, the consequence of that is that your account could get shut down. But of course, we have to do this week's discovery first. This is becoming a really great segment that people are really loving and enjoying. So if you have anything you'd like me to share, a little discovery that you've made that makes your business simpler or your life a little bit simpler, please share it with me. I would love to share it with my audience too. But this one is actually a teleprompter that I've found. You know, a teleprompter is what news readers use to read the news. Like the script is running up and down a screen so they can actually just read it rather than reading off a piece of paper. So a really good teleprompter is hard to find, and a free really good teleprompter is extra hard to find. But I've managed to find one and I'm a little bit excited about it. It has multiple amounts of uses in your business, I'm sure. So you can find it by going to teleprompt.me. So that's teleprompt.me. So teleprompt.me. Of course, the link is in the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. You can actually only use this, as far as I know, in your Chrome browser. So you will actually have to open that website in your Chrome browser. And what it does that none of the others do that I've found for free is it actually blackens out your words as you've said them. So you always know where you're up to, which I think is just absolute gold, that you won't lose your place because the words have been blackened out. So basically all you do is you go to teleprompt.me. In the top right hand corner, you cut and paste your script that you've got, you tab, and you have to tab rather than return to get it to go onto the screen. And then you choose your font size and you choose your font color, and then you start speaking. Of course, you have to make sure it's connected into your computer's microphone, otherwise it can't actually know where you are. But as long as you have got it connected into your computer's microphone, it will blacken out the words as you say them. It is absolute gold, guys, and it's free and it's awesome, and it's this week's discovery of the week. I hope that you can find some great uses for a really good free teleprompter in any of your videos or your audio like this one. Enjoy. Okay, so on to this week's topic, running a competition on social media. And there's also some offline competition tips and tricks chucked in here just for some good measure. So straight off the bat, I want to qualify this episode because I've spent many years in law and I can't continue this episode without doing some qualification. So basically, the time of this recording is March 2019, and any of the general rules that I talk about on Facebook and Instagram competitions, or even our state laws here in Australia, they may change if you are listening to this quite some time into the future. So I'd highly encourage you to make sure that what I'm saying is still true and correct when you're listening to this, if it's sometime in the future. So I'd really encourage you to go and check the links in the show notes. Check the links because I'm pretty sure the links won't change, but the rules just might change. And I'd hate for you to do something that you thought was within the rules, but of course the rules might have changed and it's no longer current. So please make sure you go and check out the rules and regulations for yourself before running competitions on social media. Okay, now I've gone through my little legal eagle and I've taken off my legal hat. Let's get into it. And of course, I've got a few steps to go through, but step one is figuring out why you want to run a competition in the first place. One of my favorite sayings and something that has served me well in my business is to start with the end in mind. If you start with the end in mind, it makes planning so much easier. It makes it so much simpler and so much smoother. I guarantee it. So you've got to decide, what's the goal of the competition? What do you want the competition to do? Is it to perhaps increase your Facebook likes, to increase your Instagram followers? Do you want to reward some customers or clients, or do you want to create a bit more brand awareness around yourself? Perhaps there's low sales in a particular area of your business and you want to boost some low sales. Maybe you want to collect user-generated content or get feedback and conduct research. Or maybe you just want to increase your page's engagement. Whatever it is, set it up right here, right now. Why do you want to run this competition? What's the end goal? Start with the end in mind and all these other steps will be so much smoother, I promise you. The second step is to decide on what sort of a competition you actually want to run. You know, competitions are run on social media all the time and you've probably entered loads of them yourself. So have a think about what engaged you, or what have you seen your competitors do really well or really badly. You know, learn from what other people do as well. Don't copy what they do. I'm certainly not advocating that, but I think that you can learn a lot by watching people in the same space as you. And don't be afraid to think outside the box here. You know, think of something different to stand out from the crowd. But here's some suggestions on types of competitions you might like to run. You know, maybe it's a like and win follow, you know, to increase your followers. So if you like and follow us, you go in the competition to win. Maybe you're going to create a survey and offer a prize to anyone who fills that survey out. Or maybe you'll get customers to submit photos of them using your products, you know, and award a prize to the best submission. Maybe you want to tag and share, and we'll get into that just very shortly. But remember, you can't ask people to tag and share on Facebook, where you can ask them to on Instagram, providing it's a photo that they are actually in. And tagging friends, which isn't, again, allowed on Facebook, but is allowed on Instagram. So those last two little tips and tricks, I'm sure, have just pricked your ears and gone, what? What's not allowed on Facebook? So let me get really clear about the rules on Facebook. So basically, it's against Facebook's rules to share one of your posts, to ask people to share one of your posts. It's against Facebook rules to ask someone to post on their friends' timelines, or to tag people in posts, or to change their photo cover. So it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's against Facebook rules to ask someone to do any of that. So what you can ask people to do on Facebook as part of your competition is post on your timeline, or message your page, or check in at a location, which, just side note, that is probably the most underutilized competition outcome ever, to ask them to tag when they come to your shop or to your business. You can also ask them to visit your Facebook page and optionally like it. You can ask them to view a Facebook post. And you can ask them to select one of their photos from Facebook as part of your competition. And I can tell you, every time I stand on stage, people are in arms about this. But everyone asks people to like, tag, and share. that is the argument that I hear. Like I said before, if everyone else jumped off a bridge. But yeah, they do. Everyone does do that. And it is against Facebook rules. So everyone who does it is breaking Facebook rules. And you're taking the risk of getting shut down if you break the rules. It's as simple as that. And I'm really sorry, but they are the rules of Facebook. If you didn't know them, then I'm really hoping that just this part of the podcast itself has been worth listening in for. I'd just like to add, though, to the best of my knowledge, there is no one sitting in Facebook land that is looking for rule breakers. So you're much more likely to be dobbed in by someone like another Facebook user, maybe someone who has had this done to them. So you're much more likely to be dobbed in for that than Facebook finding out that you're breaking their rules. But still, you are breaking the rules, and I think that you need to make sure you're following the rules when you're doing competitions. All right, so we're going to move on from that. Step 3, I've got that you need to decide your target audience, and hint, your target audience for a competition should be the same as your target audience online 24/7. So again, you want to keep your end goal in mind of what you want. For instance, if you want to create more brand awareness from a competition, then who do you target with that? And again, it needs to be your ideal client that you're targeting. So make sure you have an idea of who you want to target, but we all have a few ideal audiences, so maybe you're just going to choose one for this particular competition. Step 4 is all about the prize, of course. Now, that's a bit of a fun bit. Working out what you want to give away. Some people are lucky enough that they can give away a prize within the business that they actually own and run. Perhaps it's a weekend away, or perhaps, it's a bottle of wine or some products from your store. But for other people, you maybe need to think outside the box again. You might already have the prize, and that might be exactly why you want to run the competition, because you've been landed with this awesome prize. But if you don't already have a prize in mind, then this is where you need to decide on what the prize will be that will appeal to the target market that we set in step 3, and how this giveaway is going to help you reach your objective that we spoke about in step 1. And if you do all this, like think about the prize, think about the target audience, think about the end game that you want, then this means you'll get as qualified leads as you possibly can in this competition. Because that's what we want. Everyone will enter a competition, but we want some quality over quantity for our competition. Step 5 is all about the legal bit. So whether you're on Facebook or Instagram doing this competition, or maybe other platforms, or maybe even through your shopfront, there's got to be terms and conditions. So here's a bit of a rundown on the rules and regulations that Facebook and Instagram put out. Instagram, Number 1, you need to acknowledge that your Instagram contest or giveaway is not sponsored, endorsed, or administered or associated with Instagram. Number 2, you need to include the name of the company hosting the Instagram giveaway or contest. Step 3, include the dates the campaign will run, including time zones. Step 4, include participation restrictions, like maybe age or location. Step 5, you need to write really clear guidelines on how people can enter. Number 6, outline how and when the winners will be chosen. Number 7, share details about how and when the winners will be announced, and how or when the winners will claim their prize. And step 8, disclose all the details about how the prize will be delivered, including whether the recipient is responsible for delivery, like shipping costs or picking up costs and that sort of thing. Basically for Facebook, because they were Instagram type of rules, so basically for Facebook it's completely the same, and again with a complete release of Facebook for each entrant and participant, an acknowledgement that the promotion is no way sponsored, endorsed, administered by or associated with Facebook. So the things you need to put in your terms and conditions are basically, who can enter, how they enter, the prize, and just make sure you mention that it's not redeemable for cash, if in fact it's not redeemable for cash. The drawing dates and the process of how that will be done. A liability release, as I've spoke about before, making sure that people know it's not sponsored by Instagram or Facebook. Of course, all your details need to go in there, and decide whether or not your competition is a game of skill, which doesn't require the license, or a game of chance, which will require a license, especially if you maybe in New South Wales, or I think Victoria is if it's over $2,500. You will be required to get a license to run a competition, even if it's online. So just be really aware of what your obligations are there as well. And make sure that you purchase the license if it's required, allowing time for it to get processed and granted, of course. If you're running a promotion on Facebook or on social media, it's a really good idea to put together a landing page with all your terms and conditions, as well as any additional information about your contest. This will just save you from having to include all this stuff in one little post, one little competition post. A specific page that you can point people to with all the terms and conditions will make it a lot less messy. Step 6 is all about content creation. You really need to make sure you're creating some really engaging content so that your competition can actually be out there and can be getting lots and lots of qualified leads for you, or whatever goal it was that you set in step 1. It's coming up Easter at the time of this recording, like I said before, so many business owners might be deciding to run Easter egg competitions either in their stores or online. So whether it's an Easter competition or a holiday one or whatever the prize might be, you still need to come up with a really engaging tagline or a message and create some great copy around it. And making sure that you're remembering all about the legal terms and conditions that we chatted about in the previous step 5. So other than a really great tagline and message, you'll also need to create some really standout images for your social media. And here I'd highly recommend, please don't use standard stock images. They are overused. They're not helping with your brand identity because, so many people will also use them for their competitions or for their social media posts. So just try and be a little bit original with your posts. Yes, it takes a little bit more time and effort, but, as far as getting your branding out there goes, you will be ahead of the crowd. So make sure you don't use stock images when you're running competitions. As far as your copy goes, you might need to start building the competition up before it starts by having posts or images or videos or stories all about coming soon, the competition coming soon, and then maybe you could have a countdown to it. Doing posts again or images or stories or videos about a bit of a countdown to the launch to it. Reminder posts of when the competition is actually going to go live. You might even put some money behind it, do some paid advertising as well. Make sure you also have countdown posts to the end. So closing soon, whether they are posts or images or videos or stories. And then, of course, once it's concluded, you need to be having copy all around thank you posts and the fact that the competition's actually closed. The more effort and energy you put into this competition, the more leads you'll get from prospects that you'll really be able to have then within your world and really start nurturing them until they're ready to buy from you. As I'm such an advocate for list building, as if you listen to episode 9 and 10, you will know I highly recommend that you build a landing page in, say, something like MailChimp or in Lead Pages and point people over there to enter the competition. So you're data gathering as you go. You're collecting people's names and email addresses and maybe even mobile number. I think that the biggest goal to running a competition should be to take your audience offline. So gathering email addresses is a great way to take people offline so that you can have a talk to them over there, that you can nurture them offline at a later date. And so you won't get as many leads if it's not a free-for-all on social, but they will be much more highly qualified leads. And I've seen them work really successfully. And again, as an email marketing lover, I would highly recommend this process. If you're not sure about list building and email marketing, then I'd suggest you head back to episodes 9 and 10 of this podcast and have a bit of a listen all about list building and email marketing and why it's just so important for us to start putting into our business and into our marketing mix. Okay, so now we're up to step 7, the timing. We've got to work out what's your launch date and what's your promotion time to that launch date, and what, of course, is the closing date, and when are you going to draw the prize. All those little important bits. How long your competition will run for is really what goal you've set in step 1, or perhaps it's even a little bit time sensitive, like maybe it's Easter competition or a Christmas competition or a holiday giveaway. Then those things become time sensitive. But if you've got a goal of wanting 100 new likes on your page, or to gather 100 new email addresses, then you've got to think logically, how long will that take to happen? And sort of reverse engineer the timing of your competition. Competitions done well can be really amazing, but they can be a lot of work and a lot of energy. So the reward for putting all this effort and energy in should really reflect that. So there's no science in how long a competition should be, but you need to keep your end goal in mind. Think about the quality of the prize. Like, if the prize is a $40,000 wedding, then that's something that you should have a really big build up to. Like, that's a lot of money. That's a massive prize. Or maybe it's a week competition for a week accommodation or something like that. But also, of course, they might be time sensitive. So if you're running an Easter competition, clearly you can't have that drawn in July. That just makes no sense. And also thinking about your target audience. What would they want? How long do you think they would be prepared to see this competition run for before they would really lose interest in it? Step 8 is all about promotion. Where are you going to promote your competition? How are you going to get people to enter your competition? So some little tips and tricks that I've got. Maybe on your website, you can add a banner to your website or a link to a landing page. You could also write a blog about the competition and telling everybody all about the competition and repurpose that blog like literally everywhere. Of course, on social media, you can update your Facebook pinned posts or your announcements, update your Facebook cover photo, update your call to action button, create some awesome graphics to promote the competition. Just remembering that if it has more than 20% text, you won't be able to use it in ads. Make sure you publish notes. Not many people are into publishing notes. They're a little bit, hit and miss, but certainly worth trying. Make sure you use your stories, video, live video, and also just posts. And use social media groups to tell people about your competition as well. Make sure on Instagram you update your bio and update your link, and maybe arrange for some influencers to repost your post as well. And maybe even ask your friends to maybe share it as well. And of course, you could always do some paid advertising if you have that in the budget. Of course, in store, if you're running a competition and you actually have a bricks and mortar, you can have posters and banners in your windows and at your counters and display the prize if possible. So that's a big advantage of being able to have a bricks and mortar place, is you can actually display the prize. You could take some photos of people physically entering the competition and post that as your part of your social media mix. And it might be suitable to use some print media or some radio advertising for your competition. It really depends on your budget and, of course, your target market. And of course, don't forget to use your email list and tell the people who are already in your world about the competition and how they can enter. You can use direct messaging as well, and of course DMs on Instagram to spread the word. Okay, step 9 is drawing the prize and picking a winner. This is the best part. I love drawing prizes. It makes my little heart sing when I see the delight of people who get to win, or hearing their screams on a telephone call if you're ringing them to tell them they'd won. So build up to the draw. Like I was saying before with promotion, if it's going to happen at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, spend all day on social media pumping it up, especially through your stories. Build the momentum. You might get lots of last minute entries that way too. And I would highly recommend you draw your prize live. There's lots of reasons why you should, including legitimacy, so people can actually see it happening, but also it gets some great traction on social media and through your marketing as well. And of course, you need to notify your winner. and deliver the prize. Make sure you always ask the winner for a photo or a quote or a testimonial so you can reuse that on social media. Make sure you tag them in any and all posts about the competition from then on. And if they have a big audience, then it's a really great way of maybe getting some new engagement and perhaps some new likes and followers. Step 10, you might be thinking it's done. The competition's drawn, the winner's announced, but no, it's not over yet. So many people forget the gold just here in this step 10. You can get so much gold still, even though the competition is finished. Yes, there's only one winner of the prize, of course, but consider offering everyone who entered something. Offer them something as well, making them feel special. Maybe it's a discount, or maybe it's a product or a service that you can actually offer them that is specifically just for them. Don't forget to write to everyone who entered as well, telling them who won, maybe putting a photo or a little video or a testimony in there from the winner. Make it really personal and make the people who didn't win feel like they still matter too. Like maybe if your prize was a weekend away, then perhaps consider offering them a discount if they book, or a free bottle of local wine on arrival, or maybe even a free late checkout. Think outside the square and make these people feel really valued even though they didn't win the competition. The idea here is to offer them value and obviously make them feel valued, and give yourself another excuse to start a conversation with them. They may not have won, but they still could be really important leads into your business. So step 11 is all about the analysis. Competitions are marketing, and marketing is all about testing and measuring. So make sure that you take time to gather up all your data, see if you reached your goal that you set in step 1, and really take the time to analyze where the competition was great, perhaps where you could improve, where it went wrong, what days were really big spikes in the competition and why that might have been. Just sit there and analyze it just for maybe 20 minutes when it's all over. And of course, give yourself a really big high five, because competitions are a lot of energy and they are a lot of work. Okay, that was a lot to take in, wasn't it? Like, I thought so too. So to help you with running your next competition, I've made a checklist for you. And seriously, who doesn't love a good checklist? All those things we went through, I've put in a quick and concise little checklist. So if you'd like it, head to socialmediamarketing.com.au/checklist and download it there. All the points I've gone through are all in this little checklist. I promise you it will be worth its weight in gold next time you want to run a competition online. So basically that's it for episode 11. I hope I have not only inspired you to run a competition, but also helped you understand a few of the obligations you have in doing so. So of course, our 72-hour rule that I implemented a couple of weeks ago, I think I forgot to do it last week, sorry. And for those of you who aren't sure what a 72-hour rule is, it's basically, what are you going to do in the next 72 hours to move you closer to your goal? So if your goal is to run a competition, what are you going to do in the next 72 hours that's going to help you reach the goal of running a competition? Maybe it's downloading my checklist. I'm not sure. Write your goals down and make yourself accountable. Or maybe if you need a bit of help with accountability, use my tag, Small Business Made Simple, and I will check in with you and make sure that you have done the goals you said you will do in the next 72 hours. But of course, I'll be back next Thursday with more marketing know-how and another little discovery. Of course, if you're liking this podcast, please head over to wherever you're listening and leave a rating and review. I am just so grateful for everybody who does that, and they are seriously like gold for podcasters like me. It also helps other people to find this podcast, to enjoy this free training and some tips and tricks too. It could be the best gift you ever give them. I'm really grateful to have you in my world. Thank you so much for listening in. If you'd like to catch up between episodes and get social on social, all my links are in my show notes, and I would absolutely love that. Or slide into my Instagram DMs and send me a DM there. They seriously make my day. So guys, I'll catch you next week, and remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there's no point in dreaming small.
Oh, if you feel lonely, say it loud. There's no time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it dreaming small.